For years, I've been exploring the boundaries of what Kumiko can become. I've filled it with epoxy to breathe color into the wood. I've carved it to let shadows dance across its surface. I've even bent it to invite movement into something that's always been still. There's one idea that has whispered in my mind for years. I tried it once on a whiskey cabinet, a project I'd call a success, yet it never fully embodied what I envisioned. Now, I'm drawn back to this hybrid application, exploring whether it can exist as I've imagined. And honestly, I don't even know if it's possible. Can Kumiko become Tambour? For this attempt, I'm beginning by making a hexagonal Kumiko grid. I believe this shape will have a higher success rate over a square grid. I have a separate video on making the whiskey cabinet. On that project, I began with a Kumiko panel, then filled it with epoxy, locking every piece together, and transforming it into a single solid surface. From there, I sliced it into strips on the bandsaw, but the blade's curve was too wide and disrupted the rhythm of the pattern, leaving it distorted. That was the flaw in that attempt. What I want is for the Kumiko to flow uninterrupted, to appear seamless when the door is closed. In traditional Kumiko, glue is used sparingly, just enough to hold the pieces together, never enough to overpower the joinery. The strength comes not from the adhesive, but from the precision of each piece cut and the way the pieces lock into one another. Since this panel will be cut into smaller sections, a touch of glue here ensures the pattern holds its shape. In this way, the structure remains true, even as it's divided. With the grid complete, this is a good point to move forward and try to make this into Tambour. But I want to take this a bit further and add an infill pattern. I'm using my Sakura shuttle, a product that I developed that helps you cut the joinery on these small pieces needed to make the Sakura pattern. Since I've already made a dedicated video showing how it's used and how the Kumiko itself is made, I won't go into that detail here. For those who want to try this pattern themselves, I offer both finished shuttles and plans to make your own, as well as other Kumiko tools, jigs, and supplies listed on my website. They'll be linked in the description if you're interested. Each of these individual pieces is set in place, one by one, with precision and glue added. Once the glue has fully set, the panel is carefully trimmed. Strips are then added along the long edges to help conceal the now exposed joinery and give it a clean, defined border. The same is done to the shorter ends, completing the frame. With the Kumiko panel now complete, I turn to shaping the cabinet parts. Though this is just a test to see if Kumiko Tambour can truly work, it's also a rehearsal of what's yet to come. I've modeled these pieces to reflect a larger vision that is still unfolding. The next step is the slats, cut from this thin plywood. I'm not certain on the ideal width that they need to be, so I'll start with a few test pieces. Taped together, they fit snugly in this groove, but there's a lot of resistance on the curve. A light coat of paste wax in the groove of the other piece changed everything. The slats moved freely, smooth, and effortlessly. This was the confirmation I needed, and I cut the rest of the slats at that size. To bring the slats and Kumiko together, I built this simple jig. I inserted spacers around the Kumiko panel so that each slat would sit with just the right reveal around it. I considered a few different ways to join these, finally choosing to roll on wood glue with a foam roller. It was quick and easy, but there are flaws in this choice that will reveal themselves soon enough. Each slat found its place, with 4 layers of parchment paper slipped between them, matching the width of the saw that will part the Kumiko later. The spaces created by the parchment paper will help guide the saw blade during the cut. When all the slats were set, I fixed a strip on the end to help hold them firm. Then placed the weight on top, letting time and pressure finish what my hands had begun. The next morning, I carefully removed the panel from the jig and inspected my work. That's when the glue problem revealed itself. In trying to avoid drips, I'd gone too far in the opposite direction, using so little glue that some areas didn't adhere at all. I pulled out a few slats and used CA glue to repair them, but this was only the beginning. Using my Japanese dozuki saw, I began cutting the Kumiko into sections. The spacing between the slats worked perfectly, but as I worked, pieces started breaking free. Each time it happened, I flipped over the panel, realigned the piece, and glued it back in place. By the end, nearly every section needed some form of repair. With this being the first time this has been attempted, I'm expecting failure and to learn from those mistakes. This whole build is a test of my Kumiko Tambour hybrid concept for a larger project I have in mind. Next time, I'll probably apply glue with a standard paint roller with a 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch nap to get better coverage, or maybe even use epoxy that has a longer open time. There's a few different ways that this glue problem can be remedied. Let me know how you would approach this problem in the comments. After all the pieces were cut, I put them back in the jig the same way as before, making sure that they were in the correct order so the pattern flowed uninterrupted. The edges get masked where the door will ride in the grooves to help avoid getting glue in those areas. For the backing, I'm using a canvas drop cloth, cut to the correct width but left oversized in length to be trimmed later. It gets pressed in place with caution to remove bubbles and wrinkles. After some time, but before the glue fully dries, the canvas is trimmed to its proper length. At this stage, it's also important to remove the panel and make sure none of the pieces were glued together. Something that's easy to fix now before the glue has had a chance to fully dry. The last thing to do for the tambour is glue on a handle. Since this is a test, I'll use some scrap plywood cut to the correct length to complete the cabinet carcass. Now I can finally test to see if all that work gives me the vision that I've had in my mind for years. The tambour was extremely tight going in, but I eventually worked it into place. I realized the spacer panels were cut a touch too short, making the door bottom out in both the top and bottom grooves. So I added a few layers of paper as shims, instantly making the door glide much more smoothly. This was the exact thing that I envisioned. The Kumiko in the flat section of the track blends seamlessly, thanks to the incredibly thin curve of the Dozuki saw. Only the curved section reveals that this is a tambour. I am very pleased with the way that this came out. If you would like to see this technique used in a full project, subscribe and tap the bell to get notified when it comes out. Until next time.